Dear friends, it is with great joy that we gather today to reflect on the power and faithfulness of God, as revealed in the final account of the book of Genesis. In this book, we witness the story of Joseph, a man who endured many trials but remained faithful to God in all circumstances. In the last chapter of Genesis, we see Joseph, now established as the governor of Egypt, facing one of the most emotional moments of his life, the death of his father, Jacob. Despite the pain of loss, Joseph demonstrates. This story reminds us that, like Joseph, we are called to forgive those who have wronged us and to trust in God's sovereignty in all circumstances. It is a story of hope and redemption that points us to the fulfillment of God's promises in our lives. May this message inspire us to trust in God amidst adversity and to live with the assurance that He is in control of all things. Let us dive together into this final account of Joseph was one of Jacob's 12 sons and was his father's favorite, which caused jealousy among his brothers. They sold him as a slave to Ishmaelite merchants, who took him to Egypt, where he was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Joseph prospered in Potiphar's house but was unjustly accused by Potiphar's wife and thrown into prison. Even in prison, Joseph maintained his faith in God and Later, Pharaoh had two dreams that no one could interpret. The cupbearer remembered Joseph and recommended him to Pharaoh. Joseph interpreted the dreams as a warning of 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. Impressed, Pharaoh appointed Joseph as governor of Egypt, in charge of storing food during the years of plenty for the years of famine. During the famine, Joseph's brothers came to Egypt in search of food and found him. Joseph, now a powerful man, forgave his. Joseph's story is a powerful testimony of how God uses even the most difficult situations to fulfill His purposes and how forgiveness and faithfulness can bring reconciliation and blessings into our lives. After Jacob's death, Joseph's brothers feared that he would now seek revenge for what they had done to him in the past. However, Joseph reassured them, saying that he was not in the place of God to judge them. This story is a powerful testimony of God's providence and how He can use even the most difficult situations to fulfill His purposes. Joseph, with his attitude of forgiveness and compassion, demonstrates how we should act even when we are wronged. The book of Genesis ends with Joseph living out his final days in Egypt, with the promise that God will surely visit His people and lead them out of the land of Egypt. This ending leaves us with the hope that, despite the difficulties and challenges we face, God is always working in our lives to fulfill His purposes and lead us to His promise of salvation and redemption. May the story of Joseph remind us of God's faithfulness and forgiveness. Just as God used Joseph to save his family, He can also use us to bless and reconcile. If you desire more inspiring messages from the Word of God, subscribe to our channel. Together, we can